We go to the gym to get bigger muscles, get strong and look sexy, but have you ever worked out so hard that your joints start to hurt to the point you can't move well anymore? Those are your tendons and you probably forgot how to train them, but I'll show you how. But before we do that, I gotta hit you with a little bit of science and show you how tendons versus muscles grow. Use your imagination a little bit and pretend these are muscle fibers. Gonna oversimplify this a little bit, but you'll get it. The first thing you gotta know is that muscle growth happens by photosynthesis. Wait, what? I meant muscle protein synthesis. And it happens through mechanical tension, metabolic stress, and muscle damage. This right here is a muscle fiber group, let's say in your leg. And in our muscles, we have these things called satellite cells. They're magic cells because they're kind of like stem cells. They can become anything. But in the muscle, they are quiescent, meaning quiet or dormant. They don't know what kind of tissue they need to be yet, so they need to be activated so that they can turn into muscle cells. And this is where lifting weights come in. Through mechanical tension, metabolic stress, and muscle damage, but mostly mechanical tension, we cause micro trauma in the cellular level of the muscle. Kinda means that the things that are holding the cells together, like the Z discs, are getting torn apart. And when this damage happens, hormones like testosterone and growth hormone activates our quiet satellite cells. And that is where the magic happens. These activated satellite cells kind of fill up the damaged areas and become new muscle. I don't want to bore you with the details, but basically DNA to amino acids to protein. New muscle fibers called sarcomeres get added in parallel to increase the cross-sectional area of the muscle. So basically, your muscle gets bigger. And to get more growth, all you gotta do is just repeat this process over and over again. Almost forgot, make sure you eat enough protein. Tendons are completely different. They connect muscle to bone. They're really strong and stiff. They take a lot longer to heal, so they need a lot more load. Remember the process of protein synthesis and now apply it to the tendons. But this time it's called collagen synthesis. You apply load to the tendon, causing micro trauma at the tendon level. And through hormones like IGF-1 and growth hormone, collagen synthesis starts. It repairs the tendon. The tendon is repaired stronger and it can take more load. Now we know how muscle building works. Train to failure, progressive overload, get as strong as possible. But how does growing tendons work? Isometrics and eccentric loading. Yielding isometrics are positions that you hold over time, like wall sits. Overcoming isometrics are when you apply force to an immovable object. Doing overcoming isometrics allows you to apply a crazy amount of force, which is required for tendons to get stronger. And eccentric loading is applying tension and force over time, which helps you add strength in all ranges. The rule of thumb for isometrics, you want to hold each exercise at least 30 to 45 seconds and 60 to 90 second rest in between sets. 3 to 4 sets, by the way. And the rule for eccentric loading is directly isolating the joint or tendon that needs work and gradually adding load over time. Because guess what? Tendons don't like to heal. That's why when you get a tendon injury, when you come back, the tendon is not at the same strength level. You actually gotta put in work for tendons to get stronger. Let's go through some exercises you can use to decrease pain. A great exercise for the shoulders is external rotations against the wall. Elbows at 90 degrees, elbows stuck to your side, and you're pretty much doing this movement against the wall. You're gonna push as hard as you can for 30 to 45 seconds and then relax. An eccentric loading exercise can be external rotations on your knees. Elbows at 90 degrees, wrist locked, and slowly rotate down. You want to be able to come back up, but if you can't, you can always help yourself up and continue the move. For the elbow, you can start with 90-degree holds. You can even add a rotation in there. And to add in some eccentric loading, you can do wrist curls, slowly letting the dumbbell down and trying to curl it back up. If you can't curl it back up, it's okay, assist yourself. You would do 10 to 12 reps, palms facing up, working on the flexors. Then you would flip over and do the exact same thing. Cause forearm gains. To strengthen the knees, you can start with wall sits. Isometric lunges starting with body weight, and then later on you can add weight to it. Then you have leg extensions, either on a machine, but I'm using a kettlebell because that's all I got here. If you're doing leg extensions, you got to make sure that it's at a high enough load where it's a struggle, but you don't want your pain to be anywhere higher than a 3 out of 10. And to make this eccentric, you just pause at the top and drop down as slow as you can. You can also do eccentric squats with dumbbells or kettlebells and later on progressing to a barbell. For the Achilles tendon, you got to do some calf raises raises, preferably with a weight. If you're going isometric, you gotta hold it at the top. And if we're going eccentric, we're gonna drop down slowly from an elevated surface, trying to get your heels below the platform. And you wanna make sure that you're picking a weight that you can barely get 4 to 6 reps out of. It has to be challenging. And finishing off with hamstrings, we gotta do some hamstring walks. Extend your hips, and you can start off by extending one leg at a time and holding it out. When you get comfortable, you can walk both legs out. Make sure you're squeezing your butt so all the tension goes into your hamstring. The closer your heels are to your butt, the easier the exercise. The farther they are, the harder. And when you master this, you can start practicing Nordic curls, which are one of the best and worst exercises because they hurt. Really great for strengthening the tendon in that end range. Eccentric, going down as slow as you can and then bringing yourself back up. The trick to these is that you have to start at a comfortable height. It could be higher than this, it could be lower. And then when you can get 5 to 8 reps, you can work on lowering the height, working on that control. Eventually getting to the point where you can lower yourself all the way down to thighs touching, and then working on bringing yourself back up. Woo! That hurt. So get in the gym and build that muscle. But don't forget that you can't just have muscles to show. You gotta be able to go as well. You gotta have the ability to move however you want without any pain. Because all that strength and muscle doesn't only apply in gym, it applies in real life as well. So get those gains, build that muscle, build your tendons.